President Kagame, Rwanda, which is a country I know very well and really feel also home there at home, is often cited as the country, the model of resilience and reform. And in your view, what is the single most important leadership quality that the world needs today to restore trust between citizens and leaders? Because it seems obvious that this trust is broken.
Well, thank you, Richard. Distinguished panelists, I start by saying that the single most important, but there are many important aspects to leadership. But the first one, I would wish to mention delivery. Delivery meaning, as leaders, you know what the people expect, what they need, and you have to work out ways in the given structures to make sure that that delivery is made to the expectation of the people. Of course, that cannot happen until you match what, as a leader, you say, and what the people you lead experience. So the two have to match. Otherwise, and going beyond that, a trust has to be created so that leaders, people, the delivery I've just talked about, and the experience of the people move in harmony, and the trust can be created by involving, by making sure that it is measurable what you have delivered through this experience. And that's what we have tried to do. For my country, which is a very small country, we make sure that everybody understands we are small geographically, size, but we are not a people of small minds or spirit. The spirit and mind have to be equal to even of those people of big size countries. So that helps for us, therefore, to take stock of what has happened to us, where we have come from, and refuse to be stuck in our past, but rather look forward and therefore have belief that the first people to take care of ourselves are us, and friends and partnerships can deliver on that as well, and that accelerates the growth and the expectation. But it has to start with us. There is nobody that will come from anywhere to come and deliver on anybody's problem without starting with the very people that have to take care of themselves. So that is the mind we developed, that is the model around which we work, and we have learned from our very bad experiences, and shaped by that, together with the good understanding, then the sky is the limit in terms of how far we go. And I think this is something that can be shared or can work anywhere in any circumstances.
President, finally, do you agree with what President Kagame just said before I ask you a question specific to your country?
How can I disagree with such a distinguished man? I totally share the views of President Kagame. You know, we are shaped by the way we think, and we are shaped by the boldness in our thinking. And if we limit our ability to be transformative and our ability to innovate by the size of our population or the size of our country, then we'll never be able to be competitive. That is why investment in human capital, investment in technology, and building the infrastructure to support the competitiveness of our economy is an important part of staying alive and competing.
Who ever visited Guyana? Oh, at least one. So you see, amazing opportunity. So, Mr. President, tell us more about your country. Tell us more about the opportunities in your country. Tell us more how you are now driving this amazing economic transformation. You are blessed in terms of natural resources now. And I know that you will be, if not already the case, a new champion of all Latin America. And how do you see the country? In which direction do you see the country going? And where do you want, as the CEO of your country, where do you want to go with your country?
Thank you very much. And I like the term CEO because I believe as leaders we have to also be operational. And that is important in working towards the transformation of our country. But before I go to where we see Guyana now, it is important for us to look at the subject we're dealing with, in which direction humanity is being led. But I want to say that we should examine what are the factors that is leading humanity to the direction in which it is going, and then to see whether those are factors that are sustainable, whether it's climate, energy, food, human capital, migration. Those are all factors that are influencing where humanity is going. But for Guyana, it's a very interesting story, because we live in a world that has lost almost 60% of its biodiversity in the last 50 to 60 years. And you're talking about a country, Guyana, that has kept its biodiversity almost intact. And we have one of the highest biodiversity rate by density in Guyana. And yet, so many persons are not aware of the country with the highest biodiversity density. We have one of the lowest deforestation rate in the world, yet many people are not aware of the country with the lowest deforestation rate in the world. We store 19.5 gigatons of carbon, yet many persons are not aware of the country that stores 19.5 gigatons of carbon. We have a standing forest that is 89% of the country, yet many persons does not know that this is the country that is keeping the world alive. This is the country that is keeping the world alive, and yet we say we don't know. And that brings this question, where humanity is being led. Everybody in this room would say climate change is a big problem. The tropical forest is a big problem. Deforestation is a big problem. And here is a country that is providing the solution to these problems. Here is a country that has kept the standing forest intact, and we don't know. And that is the problem. That is the problem. We don't know because the direction in which we're going is different from the challenges the world is facing. But if I flip the coin and I ask you, which is the fastest growing economy in the world? Which country has the largest, some of the largest oil reserve discovered? Then suddenly, all the investors, it is Guyana. Same country, different script.
Amazing.
So I believe that we have to examine our priorities. And if we speak about climate change, energy security, food security, ecotourism, human capital development, and we try to lock our thinking only into the big country syndrome or the developed world syndrome, then we will not allow ourselves to understand what the rest of the world is doing and what the rest of the world is offering for the solutions of in terms of the challenges we face. And that is Guyana. I think I've introduced Guyana to you. Thank you very much, Richard.
No, we're coming back to you, you know. And after, at the end, I will ask Gianni and Ray what do you think of that, because they represent the private sector and
yes,
the international institution. Your Excellency, Prime Minister Sharif, Pakistan, no need to be presented. Everyone knows your great country. But in this world of volatility, in this world of inequality, how an emerging nations, a big nation like Pakistan, attract long-term, I would say, investment, while also protecting your social fabric?
Thank you very much, Richard. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for inviting us here. I'd like to congratulate my very dear brother, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, for this wonderful event, which symbolizes his leadership and his vision to transform societies like he has done in Saudi Arabia. I come from a country and represent a country which is very rich in resources. Ever since our inception, 78 years, we have made, to be very honest, mistakes, and we have learned from our mistakes. That's very important. We are all human beings, prone to making mistakes. Important thing is to learn from your mistakes. That's what we are doing. And at this point in time, we are undertaking most robust changes and deep-rooted reforms which are deeply required at this point in time. For example, our Federal Board of Revenue, tax collecting institution, has been completely digitized. We are attacking corruption with full might. But then, Rome was not built overnight. We are undertaking industrial reforms. We have a youth bulge. 60% of our population is very young. And in Chinese parlance, it's a challenge as well as opportunity. We are offering them training, skill training, offering them lots of other portfolios for productive employment. While we are doing all this, we are an agrarian economy. My friend, ladies and gentlemen sitting here, Pakistan, unfortunately, is included in that list of first 10 countries which are exposed to the vagaries of weather, climate change, and for no rhyme or reason, no fault of ours, our emission is less than a fraction of 1%. And yet, in 2022, we faced devastating cloud outbursts, floods, and storms. And we lost in the process. Our economic loss is $130 billion. Large swaths of our land was underwater. Crops were destroyed. Millions of houses were destroyed. And then we have to borrow loans to rebuild those areas which were devastated. And then again in this year, we had terrible floods, cloud outbursts, and we were absolutely helpless. And we have to, it's like going up the ladder and then you come back down, going up the ladder and then come back down. This is not acceptable. This is not where humanity should be directed towards. It has to be mutual cooperation. If somebody thinks that countries like Pakistan, who are devastated, loans would be enough, that is not acceptable. It is something which is absolutely unacceptable, because loans over loans, your back will break and you will never be able to stand up. We want to work hard. We are working hard. We are committing untiring efforts to stand up on our own feet. Yet these challenges, which are real, have to be shared by the global humanity to come to the rescue of suffering humanity. Otherwise, this lopsided system will provide devastating results. Therefore, I would like to say that if humanity has to move forward, it has to move forward in unison, share its bounties and grievances together, move forward and share modern technologies with those countries which can use those technologies and grow their production, whether it's agriculture, industry, etc., and employment. This is how I feel. But all said and done, we are resolved by the grace of God. We will turn Pakistan as one of the most going countries through hard work and untiring efforts, collecting our youth, our natural resources, and our strength, putting them together and make our country stand in the community of nations like a very honorable country.
Thank you for your passion, Prime Minister. Short answer to my short question. To be sure that your citizens are convinced that you are going in the right direction in terms of technology and AI, because everyone and the young generation are obsessed now by technology and AI. What are you doing in terms of global cooperation and also what you are doing on technology to be sure that the young generation will benefit from this new trend of AI technology to be inclusive? You are a great tech nation.
Yeah, very good question. I think Pakistan is already set and we are moving speedily towards technology and AI. Now, AI, ladies and gentlemen, we must all understand, has its huge benefits and also disadvantages. I think the global north should come and sit on the table who have already achieved a lot of progress in AI, that how AI technology can best be used to make it productive, make it very positive, and have synergy between global north and global south. For example, agriculture. If we deploy AI technology in agriculture, a country like Pakistan and those representing global south countries, this agricultural economy will be completely transformed. Similarly, in industry. And we are, at the moment, training our youth with AI, with technology, with IT, and using whatever means we have at our disposal, but to create hubs, to create data centers, require huge investment. And therefore, global north and global south should sit down and come to an agreement whereby we should have equitable distribution of resources, to have egalitarian economy, I mean, for the north and for the south. This is how we have to have shared destiny. Otherwise, I don't think we will be able to do justice to ourselves and to the entire global village.
Prime Minister Rama, you're not just a political leader. I think you almost became, by coincidence, political leader, but you are a great artist. And your creations are amazing. And I was so privileged to visit your office a few months ago in Tirana, and it's almost a museum. So what do you think the role of culture, the role of creativity, art, imagination, technology can play to bring nations again in the right direction and to inspire the people today? Because I think people need to be inspired.
Thank you very much. And let me share with you first impression of this table. I'm not used to see Johnny like that. I'm used to see him in the White House bringing cups of the world, of the clubs, and here he comes with a bowl. So bowls for us, cups for the White House. You know, the emperor of the football is here and is one of the very significant signs, I guess, what's going on in this country. Who would have imagined to have in this country only 10 years ago this amazing gathering, and Gianni Infantino himself being here, not just as a tourist, but as someone who is representing the largest human movement and advocating for 2034, the World Cup. Now, going back to your question, I have to share with you my firm belief that there are beautiful places that may be poor, but there is no ugly place that is prosper and rich. So there is a direct connection between beauty and prosperity, and there is a direct connection between people and the space they live in. And I believe that if today the Saudi kingdom is a role model, this is also very much connected with a vision, part of which is beauty, is transformation that is physical, that is tangible, that shows you that everything is possible. And aiming to transform this desert in Florence 2.0, and I mean Florence of the Medicis, is exactly vision. And what we are experiencing nowadays in our part of the world, namely West, is inertia and not imagination. While what we face in the Gulf and in many other parts of the world is imagination instead of inertia. And of course, imagination is fueled by innovation. Of course, imagination is fueled by the need to climb and to make big jumps, but also imagination is related in one way or the other to beauty. You know, coming from the airport here yesterday, after 6 or 7 years, I could see, and you could feel immediately that there is a different energy in this country. There is a different understanding of the space and of the living together just by looking at the beautiful green sculptures, I would say, on both sides of the street. It's not how people sometimes, because sometimes people used to accuse me when I was a mayor and I started to paint the city, that this is a facade, this is superficial. And I said, okay, just imagine if one morning everyone would get out from the house in the city without taking care of how he looks or how she looks. Imagine what the nightmare would be if nobody would take care of how she looks or how he looks, because it's a totally different thing. So I am a firm believer in that. And I think that we have taken for a long time what we had for granted in our part of the world. And we have consumed all that we inherited from them who thought about beauty. And now we are in the boredom of inertia. And that's why one of the reasons that in your survey, there is this sense that my life is going well, but our country is not going well. And mostly in the countries that have been foreseen for a long time as a place where things go well, has to do exactly with this boredom of inertia and with this frustration that nothing changes, while then things that change for the worse. While in this part of the world is a totally different story. Everything changes, and it changes for good. So I believe that it's time for us to become much more humble and to learn from Gianni. He is European. He is surrounded by the old and traditional forces, but he is all the time with the emerging ones. And he is showing that what can happen in Europe can happen in Qatar, can happen in
Morocco,
Saudi, can happen in Morocco, and can happen even in the most ignorant country about football, which is United States of America. Yeah?
True.
Ray Dalio, you are not just an investor, you're also someone who studies the long cycles of history. What are you getting from the first, I would say, statements from a European leader, a leader from the big Asia, from Latin America, from Africa? What this is inspiring you?
Humanity. That's what we have in common, and we're all dealing with the question of how to make it go well. I'd say first, there's reality and aspirations, you know? You have to be realistic. Everything works like a machine. What are the cause-effect relationships? Who has their hands on the levers of power to make things change? And then, when we deal with all of the advances, whether it's AI or longer living standards or everything, the most important thing is how people deal with each other. Let's call it spirituality. You know, across all religions, there's a component of religions of how people should deal with each other. And they're almost all the same across other religions, you know? It's do unto others as you would have them do unto you, or it's karma, which is the same. In other words, and what that means is the issue of the common good. What is the unit? Do I take care of myself? Do I take care of my family? Do I take care of my community? Can I go to the higher level and take care of what we might call spirituality, the connectivity of nature? Can we take care of each other in a sense? What will we choose? And when I studied these 500 years of history, and I found there are only really 4 things that a country needs to do in order to be successful. First, educate your children well. If you can educate them so that they can be productive, and you can educate them so that they are civil with each other, that's the foundation, civility. Then number 2, if you can come out to a society that has civility, so that they can be productive and civil with each other. Number 3 is to do it through productivity for most people. Productivity for most people. Because the society has to be good for most people. If we have great wealth in one part and you have a society that doesn't have that great wealth, it won't last. And so, and then number 4, don't have a war. Don't have an internal war, don't have an external war. If you can do those things, those 4 things, educate your children well with civility, have a civil and productive society that works for most people, and you don't have an internal or external war, you'll have a successful society.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you. Gianni, yes, deserve a round of applause, really. Let's be for first time a mentor. You have 4 great leaders. And of course, Ray is a very wise man. Which lessons world leaders could learn from what sport and football in particular is bringing to people? Because no one is asking ever if you are or not going in the wrong direction. You know, everybody supports football, everybody loves, you bring joy, you bring happiness. So please, what are the lessons that we should learn from your amazing ecosystem?
Well, thank you very much, Richard, first of all, for having me here and for allowing me to be part of this incredible panel here. I'm certainly the worst qualified to say to anyone here what he could learn from football, but I would add a 5th point to the 4-point Ray mentioned, which is football. Football is something magic, and after my new spokesperson, His Excellency Eddie Rama, has already mentioned and debated so clearly and eloquently about football, there is not so much I can add. But still, I can add a couple of things. Because if you look at this is, looks like a ball, right? Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feels like a ball too, yeah.
But look, pass it, yeah, pass it over, pass it over.
you see? It's not the ball.
You just connected everyone.
It's not the ball. It is a magic instrument. It is a magic instrument that transforms people in happy people, in people that smile, in people that enjoy, in people that dream, in people that are creative, in people that think positively about the future, just with a smile, just thanks to a smile. And this is maybe what football can contribute to society. I mean, my brother Paul, everyone here, Eddie, Mohammed, Prime Minister of Pakistan. I mean, what you did and what you are doing with your countries is absolutely incredible. It is transformative. I can just take my hat off. And what we can do with football is to remind everyone that besides all the important things you are doing, investment in technology, investment in infrastructures, in schools, in hospitals, in roads, we need to invest as well in emotions, invest in happiness. And that's why we like to say that football unites the world, because we need people to come together. We need to go to people, we need to learn about people. We don't have to stay locked in our place. And for this reason, I'm very happy that we organized the last FIFA World Cup in Qatar. We had incredible figures, 3 million spectators, 5 billion viewers all over the world. The last Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, 2 billion viewers around the world. Next year, Canada, Mexico, United States of America will have 6 billion viewers and 7 million fans coming together and spending time together in joy and in happiness. These are numbers which should make us think, because at the end of the day, what people want, on top of course, having a job, having an education, is have a moment where they can forget everything and just be happy. So the gentlemen here are in charge of the most important things. I'm in charge of the most important, of the least important things, but which is extremely important, which is football.
Can I say
of
something?
Course, please interact whenever you want.
As
this is a dialogue. This is not.
As this spokesperson, my boss forgot to say something. The period in time when the crime rate is lowest in the world is the month of the World Cup.
True.
True, but say it, for God's sake.
Yeah.
True.
And you know.
Yeah.
And you know, I will share another anecdote about that. I was in Brazil a few years ago, in Rio de Janeiro, which is not, years ago, it was not a super safe city. And I was in the favelas of Rio de Janeiro, and you know that. And the crime rate was very high in the favelas. And a piece of land was empty. And this is where every evening all the kids were coming and dealing drugs. And we launched an initiative with the mayor of Rio de Janeiro, just by putting 3-4 lights pillars, 2 football goals, and we transformed this land just as a soccer field, football field.
Arena.
In less than 1 week, the rate of criminality dropped by 85%.
Yeah.
So this is your power that you have.
That's the power
really.
of football.
So for the next 15 minutes, let's have some short questions, short answers to be able to have a very interactive discussion. How many million people now in Rwanda, Mr. President?
14.5 million.
14.5. President Ali, how many in Guyana?
800,000.
800,000. Eddie?
It's a bit more complicated because we are in and out the country. So we
No,
are
I'm talking just about the country.
in the country is 2.4.
Okay, so forgive me, Mr. Prime Minister, small countries. So I have a question for the small countries. So how smaller nations I would say through agility, through innovation, you think that you could be changing the trends of the world? Because you are becoming very vocal, you are becoming models. And to quote Eddie when he was on the way from the airport to Riyadh Center, I will never forget the first time I landed in Kigali, Mr. President. From the airport to the city, many billboards, not a single publicity. It was just one sentence which I never forget. Investment, yes. Corruption, no. And can you please react on how medium, small-sized countries could really change the direction of the world?
So,
President Ali.
maybe we have a very unique case today in Guyana. And when you think about Guyana, you think about the case of Qatar with a small population by citizen, but a large population in terms of the workforce and so on. So in Guyana's case, we recently discovered oil. And that has really ignited the rate of transformation and the pace of transformation. And it has also allowed us to make the right set of investment in human capital, healthcare, education, technology. And coming back to the size of our country, every country, you must be able to compete in a global system. And to compete in a global system, regardless of how big or small you are, you have to have the right infrastructure, the right education system, you have to have healthcare, you have to have a food system that will keep your people out of starvation and from hunger. You have to do these things. In our case, we are now able to have energy that will be competitive and allow us to compete in an energy infrastructure of which digitization, AI will be a big part. So now we are leapfrogging into the 2030 and beyond world, where AI, data centers, digitization, and technology will play an important part. But whilst we are doing that, we are also investing in the traditional sectors, ensuring that we position ourselves as a food capital of the world, investing to ensure that we keep our standing forests standing for the sake of humanity. We're investing to ensure that we have the most skilled people, skilled population. And to do all of this, we know, like Qatar, we have to bring in talent, we have to bring in people, we have to bring in investment, we have to bring in technology. So that is what we are doing. We don't have the time or the human resource asset in terms of numbers to start from scratch. We have to bring in the models that are proven and then advance it for our own development.
President Kagame, what do you think we could learn from what you do, from the way you put your country in the right direction, which is supported by so many investors, so many leaders? So how medium, small-sized countries could change the game today?
Well, as I said, it's not an issue of size or anything. It's an issue of mind and spirit and practice. And it is not so much, again, what we provide as a lesson as much as what we learn ourselves to deal with our problems. We talked so much about globalization, about cooperation, about working with each other, but the starting point is always going to be right how you deal with your own business. If it is a business, if it is a country, what are your challenges? What are your problems? So for us, we have emerged from terrible challenges. 30 years ago, the country was not there, completely destroyed. So those of us who survived the tragedy had to make a choice. Do we go along with the destruction and disappear ourselves? Or do we do something and live again and later on connect with the rest of the world? Because that is taking care of your business and that is how you deal with the rest of the world. So what lessons to ourselves and from others we have also learned is that take care of your business the right way, and you have your people, and your people have expectation, but they also contribute to finding a solution. And then you connect with the rest of the world for what it may provide that adds value to what you have started and you are doing. And we have found that in the last 30 years, one thing has led to another. We have learned to take care of our business by holding ourselves accountable, by holding each other accountable, and by making sure that we are able to measure the results we get throughout this journey we have undertaken, but we don't forget to cooperate with others across the world for what they can provide. But we prepare the ground for other people from outside who can come and make investments with us or do trade with us and cooperate in all kinds of ways we can. And we have prioritized knowing our limitations, but also knowing how to go around these limitations, tapping into our own potential, but also what the others bring from outside.
So this roundtable is like a football game. My referee just told me that we can have extra time because we have a new player. So thank you, Mr. President Petro, to join us. I know you were having a busy schedule. So President Petro from Colombia, we were talking about, is our humanity going in the right direction or not? We published this morning a survey at the FI Institute where almost 2/3 of the citizens of the world think that the world is not going in the right direction. So we'd like to hear from you, from Colombia, your perspective. Are you convinced that your country is going to the right direction? What do you do as a leader? And what is the message you want to share with our friends here, the investors from all over the world? We heard from Guyana, we heard from the great strategy of Pakistan, of course for Albania, and of course for Rwanda. It is a great role model for Africa. And we heard from Gianni Fantino, who is quoting Edi Rama, the emperor of football, about how football brings everyone in the same direction. And of course from Ray Dalio, great investors who is studying history. So we'd like to hear from you. What do you have to tell us about your country and the world in general? Please take your headset. Mr. President will speak in Spanish.
Bien. Extendería incluso la pregunta no solo al marco puramente colombiano, que está en discusión. Mi gobierno es nuevo dentro de 2 siglos de gobiernos tradicionales y es un cambio, digamos, en la política de Colombia que tiene apenas 3 años. Pero en el conjunto de América Latina y en medio de un debate intenso, sin que se haya clarificado en realidad el destino económico de la América Latina, yo diría que se enmarca y su gran potencial.
What are the directions that we need to connect to? It has a huge potential, and we have issues that we are facing. For example, we have the clean energy, and that is for sure is, if we would like to say, it is a conversation around the world. However, if we say that the rule mentioned that if the global trade has to be different from the traditional power, for example, the oil. We can learn from the Arab countries' experiences, and when we say as a government we have to commit and trust science and trust the history and the stories that have been lived throughout the humanity and its history. After beyond the world economy right now, we can see that this discussion and the not being able to accept what have been said by science. If the science says that we have to disconnect power from our needs or the traditionals, we have to commit. Hence, now we can transform, and this transformational phase has to be faster than what it should be. And here in the Latin countries, we have the potential to be part of one of the biggest economies around the world that produce clean energy around the world. Depends on their geographic place near the sea, and also for the volcano lands that we have. So a lot of it is in Colombia. Hence, we can take the role of the clean energy. And for example, if the American government or the US government thinks in it differently and sees that the network, the grid, the power grid can to consume for the clean energy, but what we saw is the US in one way or another, and for their association that said that they have 400,000 of kilowatts of clean energy, and the states by themselves they need 2,000 kilowatts. Hence, we can say that Latin America can be able to use this clean energy, and that is investments that can transfer these projects into reality. Hence, we can progress one step forward, and we can apply that in Africa and Europe, and then we can enhance the economies for the Arab countries and for the other countries that depends on oil. I would say they have a huge opportunity to transform this energy to clean energy, and I think that's my answer to your question.
Mr. President. Prime Minister Sharif, what keeping you awake in the evening to be sure that your people will be happy and will be sure that you are going in the right direction?
Thank you very much. Prosperity, peace, and progress of my people keeps me awake. We have challenges, as I explained to you earlier. We have already achieved macro-level stability, but that's not enough. We are a country of 240 million people, and challenges of sorts, as I said. But as they say, that you must never lose hope. I want to give you an example, which is an example which I witnessed myself when I was a young man or a boy. In 1972, 2nd January 1972, my late father owned largest steel engineering company in Pakistan. It was nationalized. My father, there were 7 brothers. Next day, there was nothing in their hands to be busy about. And I was, and my elder brother, Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, we were college-going students. And next morning, my late father said to me, well, that's the will of the God. We have to stand up and start again. And we said that everything is nationalized. How would you be able to start again? He said, as long you have hope, as long you don't give up, and you're committed to work hard, untiring efforts, then God Almighty provides you those resources which you even couldn't have imagined. I want to conclude that everything was lost. Fast forward, in 18 months, my father raised 6 factories in the same city of Pakistan. Now what is this? Wherever there's a will, there's a way to do. If you have the will, you can transform everything. Thank you very much.
Eddie, what Europe should do practically to go back to the right direction? Give me 3. If you are the emperor of Europe, to quote what you say about Gianni, what will be the first 3 decisions you will make to bring Europe back?
This is where one has to envy Gianni, because he has not to think and answer these questions. But frankly, I believe that something is fundamentally wrong in the fact that there is a hurry in daily basis to rearm, to think and to speak and to work more and more about more weapons, while there is no peace plan that is possible to look and read and think about. So a Europe that has not its own peace plan, a Europe that has put itself for some years in the autopilot of the United States. And then, when things there changed dramatically, I would say, started to waver the notion of the ceasefire, rediscovered the word ceasefire, which was taken off every vocabulary, and still is stuck in a position that is just about weaponry and not also about diplomacy, is preoccupying. And of course, now I know for a fact that I'm the tallest leader among all the European leaders, but I also have always in mind that I represent a very small country. So it's not up to me to lecture anyone or to say what the others should do. But as a convinced European, I feel very, very preoccupied and very disturbed by the fact that the word nuclear has become a normality in the vocabulary, while just the word, until some years ago, was not used by anyone. The threat, implicit or explicit, through social media of big forces repeated with the nukes on the back is crazy. It's crazy. And when you see all that, then you realize that there is a word the Italians have, a shower of humbleness. So Europe and the West in general needs to have a shower of humbleness and to try and reflect more about what's going on in the other parts of the world, and try to learn and restart by not taking its moral legitimacy for granted and for something that gives it all the reasons to keep going in a direction that for sure is not right. So this is what I can say about Europe. Now, what Europe should do and not do, it will not be related to me and Albania. And this is also good, because when they, F up, then it's them. When there is success, then we can claim that we are part of the success.
Thank you. I will give a last word to each of you, but before I would like to thank Prime Minister Sharif, who absolutely has to run. He has an important meeting. Thank you for being with us, Prime Minister. Thank you so much. See you later. Thank you so much, Prime Minister. So, Gianni, short answer. Do you share my conviction that FIFA has a moral role to, how can I say, be an engine for moral progress, for, I would say, human rights, gender equality, all the important values that I think our humanity should share and adopt?
Definitely yes. Definitely yes, because football encompasses all that. It encompasses everything that has been discussed here. Education, which is very important. You can learn a lot by playing football, by playing sport. Peace, unity, coming together, understanding each other, all these values that football brings to people, and starting with children when they start playing, is something that we need to uphold, and we need to absolutely bring forward all the time. I think that what we need generally, and this is what has been mentioned by everyone here, right, is education, is security, is hope, and is peace. And then a little bit of happiness that comes with the game. And I would like to congratulate having President Petro here. Felicidades a Colombia for qualifying to the World Cup. Muchas felicidades por la clasificación al Mundial a Colombia. And of course, as we are in Saudi Arabia, congratulations as well to Saudi Arabia for qualifying to the World Cup. Very important, because these players made the whole country happy. And we have to build on that.
Do you want to react shortly to what Gianni just said, Mr. President? And after I will give the last word to Ray Dalio.
Bueno, sí. Yo creo que el fútbol, al ser equipos colectivos, individualidades, pero en medio de lo colectivo, y ahí se encuentra el máximo de un gran equipo de fútbol, Colombia.
This is where you find the top of a football team. Colombia tries to be among the first. We have enriched by the ethnic of European people. We also have even people with Arab blood in our country, and this has made our country wonderful. History, we sometimes win, sometimes we lose. We compete a lot against Europeans. So we start to understand within our teams, this has made the football in Latin America a very big one. And we also are studying what's happening in Europe. And we hope that this happens in all the continents. Of course, Colombia is going to go for the World Cup. Thank you.
Let's close this great panel by asking you one question. When you listen to all these leaders, and thanks to all your studies, what is, in your opinion today, the biggest misunderstanding driving today's global inequality?
I think everybody has the same intentions. They all want their populations to be doing well in all the different ways that have been said, and they have the good intentions. I think the misunderstanding has to do with how to share. I think how to get to the point where there's essentially karma and giving. You know, it's a very practical reality that little help and gifts to others can make such a difference to them. And when there's exchanges of that, you get better for the common whole. And I think the ability to empathize with those other circumstances and to rise above the selfish or self, and then to see it through other people's eyes is, you know, that's the element of spirituality, that is the element of karma. I think if that could happen, but, you know, there's human nature that stands in the way.
Thank you, Ray. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our leaders.